This Seniors Empowerment Workshop session is being organized by the C3 Church Calgary Southeast, also known as CCCSE. CCCSE received this funding from the Federal Government of Canada through the New Horizon for Seniors program for 2024 to 2025 to support Black seniors with mental health conditions to combat the lingering psychological effect of the COVID-19 pandemic. C3 Church Calgary Southeast is a faith-based community organization whose mandate and activities are dedicated to the spiritual and educational advancement of our members in the Black, visible minority, and immigrant communities in southeast of Calgary, Alberta. We coordinate socially inclusive, information-sharing workshops for vulnerable individuals that facilitate the development of basic social interactive community involvement of seniors and youths, advocacy, and other social development programs. As a faith-based community organization, we achieve our mandate and uphold our vision by providing direct services to as many as 254 Black and visible minority community members annually. These services include 1. Provide wedding services, marital counseling, and conflict resolution services to community members. 2. Providing counseling, social, and advocacy support systems for women impacted by gender-based violence and connect them with appropriate social and justice systems. 3. Increasing accessibility to social programming for Black seniors to improve their community engagement and combat social isolation and loneliness. And 4. Delivery of nutritional food and personal protective equipment to vulnerable Black and visible minority families. Welcome to the Seniors Better Living Workshop. This session focuses on legal and financial fraud and scam prevention strategy sessions for seniors, focusing on financial awareness and prevention of senior financial abuse. What is financial fraud? If someone deceives you in order to take your money, property, or anything of value, you are a victim of financial fraud. Strangers, family members, or people you know can commit financial fraud. This fact sheet talks about financial fraud by strangers. How do strangers commit financial fraud? Financial fraud by strangers is usually hidden within a legitimate activity, such as a prize lottery, telemarketing, or door-to-door sales pitch, or investment opportunity. But the objective is completely different. People behind financial fraud schemes are experts in deception, and they are good at coming up with new ways to trick unsuspecting victims. Their materials and presentations are carefully designed and very professional. They are experts at manipulation. They do not care how their actions hurt you emotionally or financially. How do strangers find victims? Scam artists use telephones, letters, and the internet to reach you. They may even knock on your door. They often appear friendly and charming. They pretend to be offering you something that you need or want. Could it happen to me? Financial fraud by strangers can happen to anybody, but senior citizens are often their targets. It is important to know that you can take steps to protect yourself. Here are some tips that will help to keep you from becoming a victim. Be skeptical. If a business deal or investment seems too good to be true, it probably is. Take your time. Any honest business will let you have as much time as you need to think about whether you want to buy or invest your money. People who pressure you to act quickly may be trying to take your money before you have a second thought. Take as much time as you need. Use this time to consult with others about the business and the offer. Check lots of sources before agreeing to the offer. Talk to friends, family members, and a registered financial advisor. If you have access to the internet, look online for information. Call the Better Business Bureau to see if there are any complaints about the individual or the company. Check carefully before you agree to any financial investment. It is important to check several sources, as well as sources other than the company or person who wants you to buy. Many frauds are actually backed up by false telephone call centers or false internet sites. Do not pay large sums of money in advance. Honest businesses will not ask you for large amounts of money up front. Stay calm. Con artists often try to scare or excite their victim. You may be told that your investments are at risk or that you have to act quickly to take advantage of the special opportunity they are offering. They are trying to get you to agree to the deal so they can take your money before you have time to think it over or to check with others. Before spending money, talk to more than one company. Sometimes people come to your door and say your roof is leaking and needs to be replaced, or your house needs repair. Do not assume what they tell you is true, or that the price they are asking is fair. Get several opinions on whether the work needs to be done and how much it should cost. Call the Better Business Bureau to see if there are any complaints about the individual or the company. Check carefully before you agree to any financial investment. Remember that business is business. Con artists often try to make friends with you to gain your trust. Be cautious if someone you do not know who is offering a business proposition seems anxious to discuss your personal life or seems overly friendly. Be aware that seniors who are made victims once are often targeted by scam artists again. Sometimes you will even receive a second offer from the same scam artist offering to help you get your lost money back. You will likely not get your money back, but some scam artists will try to take even more from you. They may sell your name to other con artists who will try to deceive you with new offers. Beware of investments or opportunities that seem questionable or illegal. Scam artists often promise big profits if you do something improper, such as smuggling gemstones or money out of a country. The real purpose is to make you afraid to call the police when you find out that you have been a victim. Check your credit rating once a year. You can order your credit report by telephone or by mail at no cost from a credit reporting agency, such as TransUnion and Equifax. Purchases made by a con artist who has stolen your identity will show up in the report. If you think you have been made a victim, take immediate action. Do not be embarrassed or ashamed. Fraud is a crime carried out by sophisticated scam artists who are experts in deception. It is not your fault. They are entirely to blame. You may be targeted again. You need to take immediate action to prevent further losses. Call your financial institution and credit card issuer so they can stop any further transactions. Use the phone book to make sure that you are calling the right number. Contact Phone Busters at 1-888-495-8501. This is a toll-free number. And this is Central Agency in Canada that collects information on fraud complaints. The information is disseminated to the appropriate law enforcement agencies. Tell your internet provider if you think your internet's account has been compromised. Frauds and scams that target senior citizens. While identity theft and fraud can strike people of all ages, senior citizens may be particularly vulnerable. Fraud is the top crime against older Canadians, according to the Intergovernmental Federal, Provincial, Territorial Ministers responsible for seniors. Reasons for that may include that seniors may be home more often during the day to answer the door or the telephone, according to the organization. They may also be more trusting and may not have family or friends nearby to ask for a second opinion. Frauds and scams that target senior citizens. Are the seniors in your life aware of fraud and identity theft risks? Here are some frauds and scams that may target senior citizens. First, we have identity theft. Next is credit card or debit card fraud. Next, we have phone or door-to-door scams. Then we have online and email scams. And finally, fraud victims. First, we'll look at identity theft. A scammer may try to get information such as a bank card or personal identity number, credit card number, health card number, or a driver's license or social insurance number. They can then apply for credit cards, take out loans, or withdraw funds in the person's name. What you can do. If their wallets are lost or stolen, or mail is missing, encourage seniors to report it to banks and credit card companies, as well as law enforcement. Help them find a secure place for personal documents and encourage them to leave items at home they may not need, such as their SIM card or passport. Credit or debit card fraud. Fraudsters may use the credit or debit card number, a copy of the card, or the actual card to make purchases or withdraw money from seniors' accounts. What you can do. Encourage seniors to keep their card in sight, memorize their personal identification numbers, and shield their hands if entering a PIN on a cash machine. Caution them to not share their PIN with others and to use a cross-cut shredder to dispose of old bills or statements. Phone or door-to-door scams. Scammers may use fake telemarketing calls or in-person visits to get money or personal information from senior citizens. The caller or visitor may offer a prize or money in exchange for a good faith payment. Tell a senior citizen they must wire or send money because a relative is in the hospital, or pose as a fake charity soliciting donations. In a grandparent scam, a caller will pretend to be a grandchild needing money for an emergency, while other callers may claim to be from the government, bank, or credit union. What you can do: educate the seniors in your life about these scams and let them know it's best to never provide personal information over the phone. If they are concerned a caller is actually a relative in need, encourage them to contact the person first to verify before giving any information or sending money, and not to be persuaded by aggressive tactics. They can tell solicitors that they don't buy from anyone who visits or calls them unannounced and ask for information in writing. Show them how to research charities online before donating. All registered charities in Canada are overseen by the Canada Revenue Agency and listed in its database. Online and email scams. Scammers may use pop-up browser windows to warn of a virus or toot virus scanning software, prompting victims to buy and download a fake antivirus program, or even an actual virus that may open the information on their computer to scammers. Also, phishing emails may appear to be from a legitimate company or financial institution, asking them to log into their accounts. What you can do: explain the risks of pop-up windows warning of a virus or other computer issues, and help them install and update reputable antivirus protection on their computers. Teach them how to recognize phishing emails. For instance, they can hover over the sender's address to see if it matches that of the company. Encourage them not to log into their account from an email link, but to go to the company or financial institution's website directly or contact them to verify a communication is legitimate. Fraud victims. If a senior citizen you know has been scammed, encourage them to report it and not to be afraid or embarrassed. Everyone is at risk for fraud and identity theft. They can report fraud to their local police and the Canadian Anti-Fraud Centre. Are my loved ones really at risk? Your parents or grandparents may not think they'd ever fall for financial fraud, but scammers are more common than you'd imagine. Scams are more sophisticated than ever, exploiting real-world events, individual fears, and our desire to help others. Scammers will call, text, and email, pretending to be from the Canada Revenue Agency, law enforcement, or the bank. Some will even demand that fines or ransom should be paid in Bitcoin. These calls should raise red flags as the tone is urgent in nature and oftentimes threatening. Some scammers will even pose as grandchildren, texting because they're in trouble and need cash. This type of scam has grown exponentially over the last year and is referred to as the grandparent scam. How to recognize, reject, and report fraud. There's no way to stop scammers from calling, but you can help your loved ones take steps to avoid falling for financial fraud. Keep scammers out. Your mother-in-law calls to ask if she should click on the pop-up window to claim a prize for being the millionth visitor to a website. After reassuring her that the sweepstakes win is a scam, start a conversation about the reasons she should never click on pop-ups, links, or attachments that could add malware to her computer. Ask about their passwords too. Instead of logging into websites and devices with the same generic passwords, help them create strong passwords that are hard for scammers to guess and remind them never to reuse passwords for multiple accounts. Also, make sure the antivirus and anti-spyware on their computers are up to date to prevent scammers from gaining remote access to their data. Shop with caution. Your parents may love online shopping, but make sure they limit purchases to retailers they know and trust. Show them how to look for the image of a padlock or HTTPS in the URL to make sure a site is secure. And reassure them that if a deal seems too good to be true, it probably is. Protect their social media accounts. Help your parents update the privacy and security settings on their social media accounts to limit what people can see and make sure they know to only accept friend requests from people they know. Remind them to delete messages from strangers who fell in love with their profile photos and want to get to know them better. No matter how flattered they feel by the attention, they likely want their money, not their affection. Monitor monthly statements. Make sure your parents or grandparents check their monthly bank and credit card statements and encourage them to report any discrepancies or unfamiliar transactions right away. You can also set up alerts to receive emails or app notifications about new account activities. Statements should be shredded, not tossed in the trash. It's also a good idea to help them check their credit reports annually for unauthorized accounts or other signs of identity theft. Ask them to name you as a trusted contact. One of the best ways to protect your loved ones from scams and other forms of financial abuse is to have them name you as a trusted contact. The trusted contact person isn't allowed to make financial decisions, but it will allow you to talk with their investment advisors to express concerns about their personal and financial well being. Encourage your parents or grandparents to trust their intuition. Your parent or grandparent may need to be reminded that an email asking you to share in a Lotto 649 win or a phone call from the government asking for their SIN and financial details to process a hefty refund should raise some serious red flags. Encourage them to hit delete or hang up the phone, and if in doubt, find the registered number or contact form to call back and inquire. What should I do if my loved one has been scammed? Falling for a scam can be embarrassing, and your parent or grandparent may not want to tell you due to fears they'll be perceived as incompetent. But fraud can happen to anyone at any age. It's important to report scams to help others from falling for similar scams and for organizations to flag these types of fraud. Here are the steps you should take if your loved ones have been scammed. Gather documentation. Change all passwords. Report the scam. Warn your family and friends. we have gather documentation. Collect any receipts, emails, text messages, or other documentation related to the scam to share with law enforcement. The more information you can provide, the easier it will be to investigate the fraud. Next, we have report the scam. In addition to calling the police, help them notify their financial institutions, Equifax, and TransUnion, and have their accounts flagged. Next, we have change all passwords. Your elders should go online and change all of the passwords for their bank, credit card, and investment accounts, social media profiles, and other sites where personal data is stored. It's important that strong and unique passwords for each account are used. Then we have warn your family and friends. If a scammer targets your parents, they're probably targeting other loved ones too. Talk about the experience and encourage your parents to do the same to make sure others don't fall for the same scams. Fraudsters will never stop committing these crimes and continue to evolve their tactics based on current situations and new and emerging technology. The more you know about common scams and their tendency to target older adults, and the more ways you can encourage your aging parents to protect themselves, the less likely they'll be to fall victim to scammers. Thank you for joining us for this Seniors Better Living workshop. We hope to see you again.